One of the initial questions that we asked on the survey was the importance of Plan Bay Area. So this was asked at the front end. What we did was we provided a brief description of Plan Bay Area. We explained to respondents that it's a long-term strategy for the entire Bay Area, and it's focused on improving the local economy, reducing driving and greenhouse gases, and providing access to housing and transportation. We asked, based on this initial information that we're giving you, how important do you think this type of a plan, regional plan, is? Overwhelmingly, 87% said that this type of regional plan is important. So 87% in the total. You had only 5% who said that this type of a plan is not important. Okay. So looking at that same question, the importance, we also looked at it by county. So this chart is showing those results by county. If you look at the top bar, the blue bars there are the total again, and that's all respondents, where you have 66% giving it a 5 and 21% giving it a 4. So that's the 87% of all respondents. But what was interesting was if you looked at it across county, there was a high level of folks who thought it was important across county. So everywhere from 84%, which was in Santa Clara County, saying that it was very important or somewhat important, all the way up to 95% in Napa. So pretty consistent among the different counties. We also saw that relatively high level of importance among other demographics. We also looked at likely voters. Here again, there was a relative consistency with people saying it, they thought it was important. Which statement do you agree with more? There should be a regional plan guiding housing and commercial development in the Bay Area. Or B, local cities and counties on their own should plan housing and commercial development in their area. Residents are quite split on this particular issue. You can see from the chart, 51% local cities and counties should plan, 44% regional plan, with the rest as mixed opinions. This particular question and this particular issue tends to be one of the most divisive that we asked about on the entire poll. So not only do you see a split here as you look at this chart, but as we looked at different subgroups, when we looked at different geographic classifications, when you looked at it by county, by some of the different demographics, likely voters, ages, we saw a lot of swings in terms of where people fell, whether they fell for local or whether they fell for regional. Most of the other questions on the questionnaire, we did not see that. We saw a lot of consistency with those different subgroups falling similar to the way that the totals fell. So this issue in particular, a lot of big differences. Jumping back to the regional versus local question, this shows a breakout of how those different area types broke on that question, as well as the different counties. So if you look at it by area type, you can see that areas in the rural areas tended to be much more favorable towards local for this commercial development. So 61% of the rural folks. Urban and suburban, they still fall towards local in terms of favoring local, but it's a lot tighter. There's not as big a difference. Looking at urban, for example, you have 48% favoring local and 46% regional, so relatively tight there. Looking at by county, big swings there. So you look at the counties that are overwhelmingly for local: Napa County, Marin County, Sonoma County in particular. The top three are all favoring local for this particular issue. Looking at the bottom of that table, San Francisco was the only county that favored a regional plan for development. Alameda County was evenly split, 47%.